Alright, y'all. Macarons. Simple ingredients, and I'm gonna break it down so you guys can get this every single time. Let's go. So start out by getting 1 cup of almond flour and 1 3/4 cups of some powdered sugar. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna break out your food processor and throw both of them in there with a slight pinch of salt. Now the reason why we want to throw it in a food processor is because sometimes almond flour is not actually grounded to the point where we want it to be, and it might just mess up the batter. Just ground that up together for about 10 seconds or so. You want this to be like a nice fine powder. Make sure your lid's on. Mine's almost slipped out. So once you're done grinding it out, what you want to do is you're going to sift this into a bowl to make sure any little crumbs that are left that can't go through there are not in the batter. So to get this actually precisely down to the notch, sift this 3 to 4 times if you want. You don't need to, but it'll come out a lot better. So at the end, you're going to be left with a little bit of this. Do not sift this in. Do not push it through a sifter. Just throw it to the trash. So now get 3 egg whites, and you want to throw it into your stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, a normal beater will work fine. And throw a slight pinch of salt in there as well. So now go ahead and beat these for about 15 seconds on medium to high, just enough to make sure you don't see the egg whites anymore. And meanwhile you're waiting, go ahead and check out my Instagram and my TikTok. Links will be in the description. Some behind the scene footage will be uploaded right there, so go ahead and check that out. So once you've gotten it to about this texture right here, what you're going to do now is slowly add in 1/4 cup of sugar. Do not add it in all at once. You're going to knock out all the air and you're going to mess up the egg whites. So remember, slowly add in the 1/4 cup of sugar. After you're done adding all your sugar and you reach very stiff peaks like this, how you can tell it is done, flip over your bowl, and if nothing falls, your egg whites are done. Now add in 1/2 tablespoon of some vanilla extract and whatever type of food coloring you want, but make sure it is gel. The liquid one won't actually stay on good after it's done cooking. So there you go, add in a couple of drops. I chose to use blue. Go ahead and whip that up again until your color has incorporated nicely. Bowl, make sure to do that because you don't want any other color staying on the rim or some of the vanilla extract. Also key, you guys, if you are using the liquid form of coloring, what you want to do is add in a little bit more than you usually would, and you'll be good. So this is how it should look once it's done. And what you're doing now is you're going to sift in, or you could just add all your dry ingredients at once, or put it in 1/3 at a time. And this is right here the key step that you guys need to do good. Fold in your dry ingredients. Do not mix it in, because if you mix it in, you're going to ruin everything and you're going to have to start all over again. So once you mixed it in, it should look like this. Once it reaches this texture, you are done. Do not keep folding into it because you're going to ruin it. Now just throw it into your piping bag and it is ready to get piped onto your mat. And this is just a quick tip to my new bakers or someone that is barely trying this out. Use a silicone pad. Do not use parchment paper because it might just get stuck just like it did to mine. Silicone pad worked perfectly for me. So make sure to use a silicone pad, you guys. So what you want to do now is just start piping out your circles. Don't worry about the size being perfect. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that all of them have like a good length on them and equal parts. And if you're feeling artistic, go ahead and make other shapes other than circles. Now what you want to do is you want to give it a couple of taps on the table to make sure you knock out excess air, because if you have air in them, it's going to mess up the batter. Now what you're going to do is you're going to let them rest for 1 whole hour until they develop a skin texture where you can literally just run your finger through them and nothing will happen to them. You need to do this step or else your cookies are not going to rise. So now put these babies to bake at 300 degrees for about 17 minutes. They should look like this one's done. And let these cool for about a whole hour, because you don't want them to actually be hot. When you pipe in the buttercream, it's just going to come off and it's not going to taste good. After you have let them rest for that hour, your cookies should be able to lift off the mat easily. So now for our filling, we're going to do a classic vanilla buttercream. You can put caramel on it if you want, but I like putting vanilla buttercream on mine, so here you go. So you want to make sure that your unsalted butter has came to room temperature, and now you're going to cream this for about a minute. Once it's reached a texture like this, it is done. And what you're going to do now is you're going to sift in about 2 cups of powdered sugar. You could actually weigh it out if you want. I kind of just eyeballed it, sifted in. Whatever little lumps are not going through, just go ahead and sift it in all the way. is going to be able to get creamed up anyways. It should only take about a minute or so. You want to make sure everything's mixed in thoroughly. Once that's mixed in, what you want to do is actually add half a tablespoon of vanilla extract in there and make sure that is mixed in as well. Some of the buttercream and vanilla extract might get stuck to the sides of your bowl, so just make sure you go in there with a spatula to make sure everything is incorporated properly. Once it looks like this, it is now done, and you can go ahead and put this inside your piping bag. So go ahead and put a nice dollop in the middle of your cookie. You can put a little bit or a lot, it's really up to you. I just put a good amount in mine. Make sure not to press your cookie on too hard because you're going to break it. Either way, it should be able to form up nicely. So hey you guys, here you go. Your cookie should look like this. And now you are all done. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment what are the items you guys want to see get done.